Lily pushed through the crowded market, her bag heavy with cheap supplies. Terry's station smelled like oil and something she couldn't identify, probably alien food from one of the hundreds of stalls lining the metal corridors. She had exactly 12 credits left until payday, and payday wasn't for another week. The young woman stopped at a fruit vendor, eyeing the prices. Too expensive. Everything here cost too much for a cargo hauler making minimum wage. She moved on, stomach growling, reminding her she'd skipped breakfast again. That's when she heard it. A sound so faint she almost missed it beneath the noise of haggling merchants and humming machinery. A wheeze, labored breathing, something suffering. Lily turned toward the sound and found herself staring into the darkest corner of the Twilight Bazaar, where traders sold things that weren't quite legal. Her mother had always told her to avoid places like this, but curiosity pulled her forward. The creature lay chained to a metal post. At first, Lily thought it might be some kind of lizard, but as she stepped closer, her breath caught. Wings. It had wings, torn and folded against its side. Scales covered its body, but they looked dull, like someone had drained all the color from them. Its eyes were closed, ribs showing through papery skin. "You looking to buy?" A rough voice made her jump. The merchant, a Rocknari with 4 arms and mottled greenskin, grinned at her. His name tag read Grask. Fresh merchandise. Well, mostly fresh. What is it? Lily knelt beside the creature, ignoring the merchant. Up close, she could see it was barely breathing. Found it in a scrap heap. Some kind of flying reptile. Exotic pet, maybe. Been trying to sell it for days, but nobody wants a dying animal. Grask shrugged. Make me an offer before I toss it in the recycler. Lily's hand moved toward the creature without thinking. The moment her fingers touched its snout, something changed. The texture felt wrong, too smooth, too warm. This wasn't just any animal. She'd studied xenobiology for 6 years, and every instinct told her this was something important. How much? She asked. Grask laughed, a wet, bubbling sound. You serious? Thing's half dead. 3 credits and it's yours. Save me the disposal fee. 3 credits. That was one meal. But looking at this creature, watching its chest rise and fall so slowly, Lily couldn't walk away. Maybe she was stupid. Maybe she was wasting money she didn't have. But her mother had always said that kindness costs nothing, even when it costs everything. Deal. She pulled 3 credit chips from her pocket and placed them in Grask's outstretched hand. The merchant unchained the creature quickly, like he wanted to complete the transaction before she changed her mind. Pleasure doing business. Don't come crying when it dies on you. Lily gathered the creature carefully. It was lighter than she expected, too light, like its bones were hollow. As she lifted it, one eye cracked open. Just a sliver, but enough for her to see something that made her heart skip. Intelligence. Not animal instinct, but real awareness looking back at her. It's okay, she whispered. I've got you. The creature's breathing steadied just slightly. Then something impossible happened. A faint glow emanated from beneath its scales, so dim she thought she imagined it. But no, there it was. A soft light pulsing in time with its heartbeat. Wait. Grask's voice changed, losing its casual tone. What species did you say it was? Lily didn't answer. She was already walking away, cradling the creature against her chest. Around her, the normal chaos of the market continued. Vendors shouted prices. Customers argued. Machinery hummed. Nobody paid attention to one human with her strange purchase. But then the glow intensified. A Valdran scholar dropped the datapad he'd been reading. It clattered to the floor, screen cracking, but he didn't notice. He was staring at Lily, or more specifically at what she carried. An insectoid trader stopped mid-transaction, mandibles frozen open. One by one, conversations died. The entire market section fell into an eerie quiet, like someone had pressed a mute button on reality. Lily looked around, confused. Why was everyone staring? The creature in her arms pulsed with light again, stronger this time, and she heard gasps from the crowd. Impossible, someone whispered. Can't be, another voice said. The Valdran scholar pushed through the crowd, his 3 eyes wide with what looked like fear or awe, maybe both. He was old, his scaled skin wrinkled and gray, wearing robes that marked him as some kind of religious figure. Child, he said, his voice shaking. Do you know what you're holding? It's hurt, Lily said simply. I bought it. I'm going to help it. You bought it. The scholar repeated her words like they were a foreign language. You paid 3 credits, yes, is that a problem? The scholar's legs seemed to give out. He sat down hard on the floor, right there in the middle of the market. 3 credits. For a star dragon, the universe has a sense of humor after all. A what? Lily looked down at the creature. It looked back at her now. Both eyes open, and they were the most beautiful color she'd ever seen, like liquid gold mixed with starlight. Nobody move. A security officer pushed through the crowd, weapon drawn. Step away from that creature! The dragon, if that's what it really was, made a sound. Not a growl or a roar, but something softer. Musical, almost. The security officer froze. I bought it legally, Lily said, her voice stronger than she felt. I have a receipt. That's not the issue. The officer lowered his weapon slightly, but his hands were shaking. Do you have any idea what you've done? I saved a dying animal. That's all. That's all, she says. The Valdrin scholar laughed, but it sounded like crying. That's all. Oh, child, you've just changed the galaxy and you don't even know it yet. The dragon's glow spread, filling the market with warm light. And somewhere impossibly far away, Lily would later learn, other lights began to answer. Dragons hidden for centuries, waking one by one across the stars. 3 hours passed like 3 years. Lily sat in a security office, the dragon resting in her lap, while officials argued in the hallway outside. She could hear their voices through the thin walls, getting louder with each passing minute. The dragon had grown stronger. Not completely healed, but its breathing was steady now, and the glow beneath its scales had settled into a soft, constant shimmer. It watched her with those golden eyes, and Lily had the strange feeling it understood everything happening around them. She'd given it water from her bottle, and it had drunk gratefully. Food was trickier since she had no idea what dragons ate, but it hadn't seemed hungry. Mostly it just stayed close to her, occasionally making that musical humming sound. The door opened. The Valdrin scholar from the market entered, followed by a woman in an administrator's uniform. The woman's face was hard, all business. I'm Station Administrator Cross, she said. We have a situation. I bought the dragon legally, Lily repeated for the 5th time. Grask sold it to me. 3 credits. I have the transaction recorded on my credit chip. The legality isn't in question. The scholar, who had introduced himself as Oren, settled into a chair. The problem is much bigger than local market law. Administrator Cross activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air showing creatures that looked similar to the dragon in Lily's lap, but larger, more vibrant. Star dragons. Ancient species, highly intelligent, believed extinct for 800 years. They were hunted by the Hegemony Empire during the Great Purge. Why? Lily asked. Because they couldn't be controlled. Oren's voice was soft. Dragons are telepathic. They can sense truth from lies, read intentions. The Hegemony rulers feared them, so they killed them all. Or so we thought. The dragon in Lily's lap shifted, and suddenly a voice filled her head. Not words exactly, but meaning, clear as spoken language. Not all, we hid. We waited, Lily gasped. It's talking to me. In my head. Impossible, Administrator Cross said. Dragons only communicated with royalty, with those of pure bloodlines chosen through sacred rituals. They would never speak to a random cargo hauler. The dragon's voice came again, this time with what felt like amusement. Times change. Bloodlines mean nothing. Hearts matter. What's it saying? Oren leaned forward eagerly. It says bloodlines don't matter. Hearts do. Lily stroked the dragon's head gently. Why did you let yourself be captured? Why wait in that market dying? To test. To see if bridge species had arrived. You proved it. Bridge species? Lily looked at Oren. What does that mean? The old scholar's eyes widened. There's a prophecy. Ancient text mostly dismissed as legend. It says dragons would return when the bridge species arrived. Beings capable of connecting what was divided. We never knew what species it meant. And now you think it's humans? Administrator Cross looked skeptical. She paid 3 credits for a dying dragon, Oren said simply. Not because she expected anything in return. Not for profit or power. Because it was suffering. Tell me, Administrator, how many species in this galaxy would do that? Before Cross could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. The holographic display shifted, showing star maps. 17 points of light appeared across the galaxy, pulsing in the same rhythm as the dragon's glow. What am I looking at? Cross demanded. Dragon signatures, someone said over the communication system. 17 of them, all awakening simultaneously. They're responding to something. The dragon stood on Lily's lap, spreading its wings as much as the small room allowed. It looked at her, and she understood without words what was about to happen. "It's going to call them," she said. "The other dragons. They're coming here." "Absolutely not." Cross stood. "This station can't handle that kind of situation." The panic alone would be. The dragon sang. There was no other word for it. A sound that started in its chest and filled the room, the hallway, the entire station, pure and clear and impossible to ignore. Every screen, every display, every communication device on Terra station broadcast the same frequency. And across the galaxy, dragons answered. Grask appeared at the door, pushed past security. His green face had gone pale. "I want it back. The sale was invalid. I didn't know what it was. I want a refund." "No." The word came from Lily before she even thought about it. The sale was legal. You can't take it back just because you realized what you sold. "Do you know what you're holding?" Grask's voice cracked. "That's worth millions, billions, private collectors, research facilities, military contracts. That's my retirement, and you stole it for 3 credits. "You set the price," Oren said coldly. "You saw a dying creature and thought of disposal fees." She saw a life worth saving. The dragon chose correctly. The dragon's voice filled Lily's mind again. "Others will come. Not all humans worthy. Cannot bond with everyone. Some will be chosen. Many will not. How do you choose?" Lily asked aloud. "We see. Past the skin, past words. We see the soul." Administrator Cross was receiving reports through her earpiece, her expression growing more stressed by the second. "We have incoming ships. Dozens of them. Human vessels, all requesting permission to dock. They're saying they heard the call. They want to meet the dragons." "This is insane," Cross muttered. "We're not equipped for this. We need Galactic Council oversight, military support, medical teams." We need nothing but space," Oren interrupted. "Dragons have managed themselves for millions of years. They don't need our help, but we might need theirs." Lily felt the dragon's weight settle more firmly in her lap. It was tired, she realized. The call had taken energy it didn't quite have yet. She wrapped her arms around it protectively. "What do I call you?" she asked silently. The answer came with warmth like sunshine after rain. "Ash, I'm Ash." "Ash," Lily repeated. "I'm Lily, I know. That's why I chose you." The station's main docking bay had been cleared by the time they arrived. Lily walked with Ash, Oren beside them, Administrator Cross following with a security detail. Through the bay windows she could see ships arriving, everything from small personal craft to larger transport vessels. The first dragon appeared like a star falling in reverse. It rose from below the station, wings spread impossibly wide, scales gleaming silver. It was enormous, easily the size of a small ship, healthy and magnificent in a way that made Ash look tiny and fragile. But when it landed on the bay's external platform, it bowed its head to Ash first, showing respect. More came. Bronze and gold, deep blue and forest green, black as space and white as ice. They arrived one by one, and each acknowledged Ash before turning their attention to the gathering crowd of humans pressing against the bay's interior windows. "The choosing begins," Ash said in Lily's mind. "Some will bond today. Others will leave disappointed. But all will understand. Humanity has passed the first test." Lily watched as a dragon, deep red with amber eyes, approached the window. A human man on the other side, wearing a janitor's uniform, pressed his hand against the glass. The dragon mirrored the gesture with its claw, and light flared between them. "What's happening?" someone in the crowd asked. "A bond," Oren whispered. "We're witnessing history," but not everyone was pleased. Lily saw faces in the crowd twisted with jealousy, with anger. She saw humans arguing, pushing, trying to get closer to the dragons, and she realized with cold certainty that this wasn't going to be simple. Ash's voice confirmed her fear. "The second test comes soon. Not all humans want partnership. Some want ownership. That cannot be allowed." Lily never thought she'd miss her tiny cargo hauler quarters, but right now she wanted nothing more than to hide there with Ash and shut out the galaxy. Instead, she stood in a conference room facing 3 massive holographic screens showing members of the Galactic Council. 2 weeks had passed since the dragons arrived. 2 weeks of chaos, wonder, and growing tension. 43 humans had bonded with dragons so far, 43 out of thousands who tried. The rejected ones weren't taking it well. Miss Chen, the council speaker, a Telnari with translucent blue skin, regarded her coolly. You understand why we've convened this emergency session? Because people are scared, Lily said quietly. Ash rested beside her chair, larger now, healthier but still small compared to the other dragons. They don't understand what's happening. Understatement of the century, Administrator Cross muttered from her seat at the side table. The council speaker continued as if Lily hadn't spoken. In 2 weeks, we have documented 17 violent incidents involving humans attempting to force bonds with dragons. 3 humans are dead. 12 are critically injured. Dragon-bonded humans are being harassed, threatened, and in some cases attacked by their own people. That's not the dragon's fault, Lily protested. Perhaps not, but it's the result of their presence. Another council member spoke up, this one a Ruknari like Grask. We have millions of humans flooding into stations and planets where dragons have been sighted. Our infrastructure cannot handle this migration. Economies are disrupting. Social order is collapsing. Oren stood from his seat in the observer section. Council, if I may speak. You may not, scholar. The speaker's tone was sharp. This is not a historical debate. We are discussing active threats to galactic stability. But Oren spoke anyway. Then discuss the full truth. Show them the pattern. The speaker hesitated, then nodded to someone off-screen. A new hologram appeared, showing profiles of the 43 bonded humans. Lily recognized some faces. Daniel, the janitor who bonded first. Rachel, a 12-year-old refugee from the outer colonies. Ben, a retired soldier with scars covering half his face. What pattern? Lily asked. Oren highlighted data beside each profile. Every bonded human shares specific traits. Not genetic, not cultural. Behavioral. Daniel spent 15 years working on the station, sending 90% of his wages to support his sister's children after she died. Rachel survived a ship crash that killed her parents, then spent 3 months keeping her younger brother alive in a life pod before rescue. Ben took a plasma blast meant for his entire squad, saved 37 lives, lost his military career. The pattern became clear. Sacrifice. Every bonded human had given something significant to help others, expecting nothing in return. Dragons choose based on demonstrated compassion, Oren concluded. Not claimed virtue, but proven acts of selflessness. So they judge us, a council member said. They deem most humans unworthy. They choose partners carefully, Lily corrected. Would you want someone bonding with another sentient being just for power or status? Ash's voice filled her mind, and this time, Lily knew others heard it too. The dragon had been practicing projecting thoughts to multiple people. We judge no one. We simply see clearly. Most humans good in their own way. But bonding requires more. Requires souls that put others first without counting cost. The room fell silent. Hearing a dragon's telepathic voice for the first time had that effect on people. The speaker recovered first. With respect, honored dragon, your selection process is causing societal damage. We must implement controls, registration, testing, evaluation procedures. No, Ash said simply. I beg your pardon. Cannot test what we see. Cannot register what lives in the heart. Your procedures find nothing we need to know. Then what do you suggest? The speaker's frustration showed. We cannot have this chaos continuing indefinitely. Before Ash could answer, alarms sounded again. Lily was getting tired of those alarms. Administrator cross-checked her tablet and her face went white. We have an incoming fleet. Military vessels. They're broadcasting Hegemony identifiers. The reformed Hegemony? Oren stood. But they're just a cultural organization now. They haven't had real power since the Empire fell. They have power enough to field 20 warships, apparently, Cross said grimly, and they're demanding we surrender all dragons into their custody. The council chambers erupted in argument. The speaker called for order, but no one listened. Through it all, Ash remained calm, and Lily felt that calmness spreading to her through their bond. You expected this, Lily said silently. Yes. Old fears die slowly. Old families remember old grudges. The holographic display changed again, showing the approaching fleet. They were massive ships, old but well-maintained, bristling with weapons that looked like they'd been recently updated. A new face appeared on screen, pushing aside the council members. A human man, surprisingly, with gray hair and cold eyes. I am Commander Nicholson of the Reformed Hegemony Defense Fleet. We are assuming custody of all dragons currently in council space. This is not a negotiation. Under what authority? the speaker demanded. Under the authority of the Preservation Accords, signed 800 years ago after the Dragon Purge. Those accords give the Hegemony the right and responsibility to manage any dragon populations that may arise, to prevent the chaos that led to the original conflict. Those accords were signed by a government that no longer exists, Oren protested. The council recognized the reformed Hegemony as the legal successor state, Nicholson countered. The accords stand. We are here to fulfill our duty. Dragons will be contained, studied, and controlled, for the safety of all. Lily felt Ash tense beside her. The other dragons, scattered across the station, all responded similarly. She knew through the bond that they were communicating with each other, deciding how to respond. You seek to imprison us, Ash said, its voice projecting to everyone in the conference room and presumably to Nicholson's ship. Again, we seek to prevent another war, Nicholson said. Your kind nearly destroyed civilization once. We won't allow it again. We destroyed nothing. For the first time, Ash's voice carried anger. We were murdered for seeing truth, for speaking against corruption. Your ancestors killed us because we refused to lie for them. That's revisionist history, Nicholson said. Our records show, your records show lies. Another dragon's voice joined Ash's, then another. Soon all the dragons spoke as one, and the sound of it shook the station. We remember. We remember truth. We remember innocence. We remember genocide disguised as necessity. The ships were getting closer. Lily could see them through the conference room windows now, dark shapes against the stars. Lily. Ash turned to her. Need to show them. Need to prove what really happened. But cannot do alone. What do you need me to do? Trust me completely. Let me show you our memory. Then you show them. Lily understood immediately. Dragons could share memories, show the truth of the past. But the council wouldn't believe a dragon showing its own history. They'd call it biased, manipulated. But if a human could see those memories and testify to them, that would carry weight. It might hurt, Ash warned. 800 years of memory all at once. Do it, Lily said without hesitation. Ash touched its forehead to hers, and the universe exploded into light and sound and sensation. Lily saw through dragon eyes, felt through dragon senses, lived through dragon experiences compressed into seconds that felt like lifetimes. She saw the dragons as they were before the purge, advisors to governments, mediators in disputes, healers and teachers. She saw them discovering corruption in the Hegemony government, seeing through lies about military spending, about conquered worlds, about disappeared populations. She saw them speaking truth, demanding accountability. And she saw the response, ships arriving without warning. Weapons designed specifically to kill dragons. Entire families murdered while they slept. Those who fled were hunted. Those who fought were overwhelmed. The Dragon Queen, ancient and wise, sending a final message before she died. We forgive and we will wait. Lily gasped as the connection broke. Tears streamed down her face. They did nothing wrong. They were murdered for being honest. Miss Chen? The speaker sounded concerned. What did you see? The truth, Lily said. And we need to show everyone else. The planet Draik Prime hadn't appeared on any official maps for 700 years. Oren found it in ancient religious texts, cross-referenced with astronomical data that most people considered too old to be reliable. But dragons never forgot, and Ash confirmed the coordinates were correct. Lily stood on the bridge of a small transport ship, watching the planet grow larger on the view screen. Beside her, 4 other bonded humans waited nervously. Daniel the janitor, Rachel and her younger brother Sam, who bonded with a young green dragon named Willow, and Ben the scarred soldier. Their dragons were in the cargo hold, too large for the passenger areas. This is illegal, Daniel said quietly. Leaving the station without permission, traveling to a forbidden zone. Most things worth doing are illegal, Ben replied. Learned that in the service. We need evidence, Lily said firmly. Commander Nicholson's fleet is 3 days from Terra station. The council is debating surrender terms. If we don't prove what really happened during the purge, they'll hand the dragons over. Rachel, only 12 but already carrying the weight of survivors' guilt in her eyes, spoke up. Ash says there's a data archive on Draik Prime. Original Hegemony records that weren't destroyed or altered. If we can retrieve them, if. Sam, her 10-year-old brother, looked scared. Big word. The ship shuddered as they entered atmosphere. The pilot, a sympathetic alien named Court, who owed Orin a favor, guided them through clouds toward the surface. What emerged below made Lily's breath catch: ruins. An entire city, or what remained of one, stretched across a valley. Buildings crumbled but still recognizable, streets overgrown with strange vegetation, and in the center, a massive structure that must have been magnificent once, now broken and burned. The Dragon Temple, Orin said softly. He'd insisted on coming despite his age. Where the Dragon Queen held court. Where the first attack happened, they landed near the temple. The ramp lowered, and Lily stepped onto soil that hadn't felt human footsteps in centuries. The air smelled strange, dry and dusty, with an underlying sweetness from flowering vines covering the ruins. The dragons emerged from the cargo hold, spreading wings and stretching. Ash stayed close to Lily, but the silver dragon bonded to Daniel, a magnificent creature named Storm, moved toward the temple with what looked like reverence. Storm's grandmother died here, Daniel said quietly. I can feel it through the bond. So much grief. They walked together through the ruins. Lily saw scorch marks on walls, massive gouges where weapons had torn through stone, and bones. Dragon bones scattered and broken, too many to count. They killed younglings, Rachel whispered, her voice shaking. The small bones. Those are children. Sam grabbed his sister's hand. Willow, their dragon, made a keening sound that seemed to encompass all the sorrow of this place. The temple's main door had been destroyed, but the entrance was clear. They stepped inside, and emergency lighting flickered on, triggered by their movement. Someone had installed it long ago, probably researchers or salvagers. The interior was vast. A central chamber rose 5 stories, with balconies circling each level. At the far end stood a statue, cracked but intact, showing a dragon with wings spread protectively over smaller figures. Various species all sheltering beneath the dragon's protection. This is what they were, Orin said. Protectors, guardians, not conquerors. Ash led them to a side passage. The corridor sloped downward, taking them deep beneath the temple. The emergency lights continued, one every few meters, creating pools of illumination in the darkness. Finally, they reached a sealed door. Metal covered in symbols Lily didn't recognize. Ash approached and touched it with one claw. The symbols glowed, and the door unsealed with a hiss of escaping air. Inside was a room full of data storage units, old but still functional. Screens lined the walls, all dark. In the center stood a pedestal with what looked like a control interface. The archive. Orin breathed. It's real. It actually survived. Ben moved to the pedestal cautiously, checking for traps or security systems. His military training showed in every careful movement. Looks clear. Power's still running. Backup generators must be underground. Can we access it? Lily asked. Let me try. Daniel had worked with station computer systems for years. He activated the interface and the screens flickered to life. Data filled them. So much data. Records, communications, military reports, surveillance footage. Years of information, all carefully preserved. Why keep this? Sam asked. If the Hegemony wanted to hide what they did, why not destroy this? Insurance, Ben said grimly. Someone in the Hegemony wanted leverage. Proof they could use against their own leaders if needed, or maybe one person had a conscience and couldn't destroy the truth completely. Orin was already sorting through files. Here. Military orders dated 3 days before the purge began. Authorization for Sanction Protocol Omega. That's the attack code. And look at the justification. Dragons represent unacceptable oversight threat to administrative efficiency and policy flexibility. Translation, Ben said. They didn't like being called out for corruption. More files opened. Lily watched footage that made her sick. Dragons approaching Hegemony officials peacefully, requesting investigation into missing colony ships. Dragons presenting evidence of embezzlement, of illegal weapons deals, of entire populations enslaved. And then the response. Not investigation, not accountability, genocide. This one, Rachel called from another screen. It's a recording. Audio and video. From right before the attack here, they gathered around. The screen showed the temple chamber above them, but intact. Beautiful. The Dragon Queen sat on a throne of carved stone, massive and ancient, her scales the color of moonlight. Before her stood a human in Hegemony uniform. Your accusations are serious, honored Queen, the human said. They are true, the Dragon Queen replied. Her voice was old, tired, but firm. We have shown you evidence. Your government has committed atrocities. We ask only that you stop, that you choose justice, and if we choose otherwise, the Queen was silent for a moment. Then we will speak publicly. We will show the galaxy what you've done. We will ensure the truth cannot be hidden. I see. The human bowed. Then I'm sorry, truly, but I have my orders. He left. 20 minutes later, according to the timestamp, the attack began. They watched in horror as ships appeared, as weapons fire tore through the temple roof, as dragons died trying to protect their queen. The recording cut out when the camera was destroyed. That human, Daniel said. Did you see his uniform? Name tag said General Hector Nicholson. Nicholson, Lily repeated. Like Commander Nicholson? His great-grandfather probably, Ben said. And I bet the commander knows exactly what his ancestor did. Oren was copying files, downloading everything onto portable storage units. This is enough. More than enough. We can prove the dragons were innocent. We can show the Hegemony committed genocide to hide their crimes. Will anyone believe it? Sam asked. They'll have to, Lily said. We'll broadcast it everywhere. Every news outlet, every government, every public forum. The truth doesn't stay hidden when you shine enough light on it. But as they worked, alarms sounded above them. Court's voice crackled through their communicators. We have incoming ships! Multiple vessels, military configuration. They found us. Lily looked at Ash. Can we fight? If we must. But better to run. Need to get evidence away safely. They grabbed the storage units and ran. The corridor seemed longer going up. The temple chamber impossibly far away. Behind them they heard explosions. The Hegemony ships were bombarding the ruins, trying to destroy the archive. They burst into the main chamber just as part of the roof collapsed. Storm grabbed Daniel and took flight, crashing through a weakened wall. The other dragons followed, carrying their bonded humans. Ash wrapped around Lily protectively as debris rained down. Outside, 3 Hegemony ships hovered overhead. Smaller than the fleet heading to Terra, but still dangerous. Weapons charged, targeting the dragons, defensive positions. Ben shouted. Though what defense could they mount against warships? Then something unexpected happened. More ships appeared, dropping out of hyperspace. But these weren't Hegemony vessels. These were civilian ships, transports and freighters, even personal craft. Dozens of them forming a barrier between the dragons and the warships. This is the vessel Mercy's Run, a voice broadcast on open channels. We're here to extract dragon-bonded personnel. You want to shoot them? You go through us. More voices joined. Freighter Dancing Star standing by. Transport Hope's Dream, engines hot. Personal craft Lucky 7 ready to cover. Hundreds of ships, Lily realized. Maybe thousands. All crewed by people who believed in what the dragons represented. Who'd seen the bonds forming and recognized something worth protecting. The Hegemony ships hesitated. Shooting down military targets was one thing. Firing on civilians, especially this many, would be another atrocity added to their history. All dragon personnel, get to your ships, the first voice commanded. We're leaving. They ran for their transport. Court had the engines running, ramp already closing as they piled aboard. Storm barely fit through the cargo door, wings folded tight. As they lifted off, surrounded by protecting civilian vessels, Lily looked down at Draik Prime one last time. The temple was burning now, the Hegemony ships destroying what remained. But it didn't matter. The truth was safe. They had the evidence, and the galaxy was about to learn what really happened 800 years ago. Broadcast everything, Lily told Oren, right now. Send it to every communication network you can access. Oren smiled. Already doing it. By the time we reach Terra Station, everyone will know. The Hegemony's lies end today. The galaxy burned with argument. That's what Lily thought, watching news feeds from a dozen different worlds. 3 days since they'd broadcast the archive data, and civilized society was tearing itself apart over what to believe. Half the galaxy called the footage authentic, proof of Hegemony crimes. The other half screamed forgery, manipulation, dragon propaganda. Politicians argued. Scholars debated. And while they talked, Commander Nicholson's fleet arrived at Terra Station. Lily stood in the station's main docking bay with 43 bonded pairs. Every human who'd connected with a dragon was there, surrounded by dragons of every size and color. It should have felt like an army. Instead, it felt like a gathering of refugees waiting for the storm to hit. They're hailing us, Administrator Cross said. She looked exhausted. 3 days of non-stop crisis management had aged her. Commander Nicholson wants to speak to you specifically, Lily. Me? You're the first bonded. You started all this. In his mind, you're responsible. Lily looked at Ash, who'd grown considerably in the past weeks. Still smaller than the other adult dragons, but healthy now. Strong. The dragon's golden eyes met hers with steady confidence. I'll talk to him, Lily said. The holographic display activated, showing Nicholson on his ship's bridge. Behind him, crew members worked at their stations, weapon systems active and ready. Miss Chen. Nicholson's voice was cold. You've caused quite a disruption. I saved a dying dragon. Everything else followed from that. Everything else. You mean the chaos, the violence, the fabricated evidence meant to slander my family's legacy. It's not fabricated. You know it isn't. Nicholson's jaw tightened. I know that ancient data can be manipulated. I know that dragons are masters of mental influence. I know that my great-grandfather was a hero who saved civilization from creatures that would have enslaved us all. Is that what you tell yourself? Lily kept her voice level. Do you really believe that? Or is it easier than admitting your family built their power on genocide? Careful, Miss Chen. The threat in his voice was clear. I have 20 warships. You have some civilians and animals. This conversation ends one of two ways. Either you surrender the dragons peacefully or we take them by force. Third option, Ben called out. The scarred soldier stepped forward, his dragon shadow moving with him. You turn around and leave. Because if you start shooting, a lot of people died today, yours included. You think 43 dragons can fight a military fleet? Nicholson actually laughed. I've read the historical accounts. Dragons are tough, but they're not invincible. We killed thousands of them during the purge. We can kill 43. Maybe, Daniel said quietly, joining Ben and Lily. Storm, his massive silver dragon, looked down at the holographic display with something that might have been pity. But you'll have to kill us first. Every bonded human. You ready to murder children for your family's honor? Because Rachel's only 12. Rachel stood with her brother Sam, both of them looking terrified but determined. Willow spread wings protectively over them. Nicholson's expression flickered. Just for a second, Lily saw doubt. Then it hardened again. Acceptable losses. Your deaths will be tragic but necessary to prevent greater harm. High Fleet has authorization from the reformed Hegemony Council to use any force required. Even if your council authorized it, Administrator Cross interrupted. The Galactic Council hasn't. If you fire on this station, you're committing an act of war against Council territory. The Galactic Council has been debating for 3 days without reaching a decision. I'm done waiting for bureaucrats to do what's necessary. The communication cut out. Through the bay windows, Lily saw the Hegemony ships moving into attack positions. Weapon systems powered up, targeting scanners painting the station with invisible beams. Everyone who can't fight needs to evacuate, Lily said. Get to the shelters. I'm not leaving. Administrator Cross's voice was firm. This is my station. If that fool wants to shoot it, I'll be here to file charges against him afterward. Assuming there is an afterward, the dragons began to move. Not panicked, not rushed. They'd been preparing for this possibility since the fleet appeared. They spread out across the docking bay, positioning themselves between the station and the incoming fire. Ash's voice filled Lily's mind, and through her bond, she knew all the other humans were hearing it too. This is not your fight. These are our crimes to answer for, our history to resolve. You should not die for us. Shut up, Ash. Lily said it aloud and several people laughed despite the tension. We're bonded. That means we're partners. Partners don't abandon each other. She's right, Daniel said. Storm and I were in this together. Shadow knows I'm not going anywhere, Ben added. One by one, the bonded humans voiced agreement. Even young Sam, his voice shaking but determined, said he wouldn't leave Willow. The first shot never came from Nicholson's fleet. It came from behind them. A massive vessel dropped out of hyperspace, dwarfing the Hegemony warships. Its design was ancient, elegant, covered in symbols that matched those in the Dragon Temple. And perched on its hull were dragons. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all larger and older than any Lily had seen before. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. Nicholson's demand sounded less confident now. A dragon's voice answered, not telepathic this time, but broadcast on all frequencies, speaking aloud in a language that translators struggled to process. Finally, the words came through clear. I am Stormwing, daughter of the Moon Queen. You threaten my people's children. You threaten those who've shown them kindness. This will not stand. More ships appeared. Not military vessels, but the same civilian fleet that had protected them at Draik Prime, now reinforced with hundreds more. They formed a wall between the station and Nicholson's fleet. This is the Civilian Defense Coalition, someone broadcast. We represent 47 different species, 230 worlds. We do not recognize the reformed Hegemony's authority over dragons or any sentient species. Stand down. Nicholson's face appeared on the display again, pale now. You're defending creatures that nearly destroyed civilization. You're choosing them over your own kind. My own kind? The voice that answered was human. A ship called New Hope moved to the front of the civilian formation. I'm human, Commander. Born on Earth, served in the colonial fleet for 30 years. And I remember my history. Real history, not the propaganda version. The dragons didn't nearly destroy civilization. The Hegemony did. They committed genocide and blamed the victims. We've seen the evidence. Most of the galaxy has. You're on the wrong side of history. Other voices joined, alien and human alike, all declaring support for the dragons and their bonded partners. Lily felt hope rising, but also dread. This was spiraling toward a battle that would cost countless lives. Then Ash did something unexpected. The dragon stepped forward, spread wings, and launched into space. No ship, no protection, just flying directly toward Nicholson's fleet. Ash! Lily screamed, but the dragon was already too far away. Ash's telepathic voice reached everyone. Commander Nicholson, I challenge you. Single combat, dragon to human. If I win, your fleet leaves. If you win, take all dragons without resistance. That's insane, Ben said. You can't fight a warship. Not fighting ships. Fighting him. Personal combat. He says we're dangerous. Let him prove it himself. Lily understood. Ash was offering Nicholson a way out without massive bloodshed. If Nicholson accepted, either he'd win and get what he wanted, or he'd lose and have to back down without losing his ships. But would Nicholson accept? Would he risk himself when he could just order his fleet to fire? Long seconds passed. Then a transport shuttle launched from the flagship. It moved toward Ash, and through its viewport, Lily could see Nicholson in combat armor, weapon in hand. Challenge accepted, he broadcast. One dragon against one human, as it was meant to be. The shuttle stopped at a safe distance, and Nicholson stepped out. He wore a spacesuit with maneuvering jets, held a plasma rifle designed for ship-to-ship combat. Against Ash's claws and fire, if the dragon even breathed fire, Lily wasn't sure. Lily, Oren said quietly, dragons can survive in space, but they're not invulnerable. If Nicholson hits Ash with that weapon, I know. Lily pressed her hand against the window, wishing she could be there with Ash. Through the bond, she felt the dragon's determination, its readiness, and underneath it all, its certainty that this was right. The fight began. Nicholson fired, plasma bolts cutting through space. Ash dodged, moving with grace that seemed impossible for something so large. The dragon circled, using speed instead of strength, forcing Nicholson to waste ammunition tracking impossible movements. But Nicholson was military-trained, experienced. He anticipated one of Ash's turns and fired. The bolt caught Ash's wing, tearing through membrane. The dragon tumbled, regained control, but was clearly hurt. Lily felt the pain through their bond, gasped at the intensity. Others reached out to steady her. Come on, Ash, she whispered. Don't give up. Ash steadied, wings spread despite the injury. Then the dragon did something Lily had never seen. It began to glow brighter and brighter until it was like looking at a small star. The light seemed to affect Nicholson's sensors, his targeting systems going haywire. In that moment of confusion, Ash struck, not with claws or teeth, but with pure force, slamming into Nicholson and sending him spinning through space. The plasma rifle flew from his hands, tumbling away into the dark. Ash caught Nicholson carefully, held him in clawed hands that could have crushed him but didn't. I win, Ash said simply. Your fleet leaves. You keep your life, Your Honor. But the lies end here. The hunt ends here. Dragons choose their own path now, with humans who see us as partners, not property. Nicholson hung in Ash's grasp, helpless. Through his suit's communication system, his voice came through ragged. Why didn't you kill me? I would have killed you. Because that's not who we are. That's who you feared we were. Your great-grandfather feared truth speakers, feared beings who couldn't be corrupted or controlled. But we never wanted to rule. We only wanted to help. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Nicholson spoke. I saw the archive footage. After you broadcast it, I told myself it was fake, but I knew. I always knew, really. My family built everything on murder, on lies, not your crime. Your choice is what matters now. Nicholson nodded slowly. Fleet Command, this is the commander. Stand down. Weapons cold. We're leaving. Ash released him and Nicholson's shuttle retrieved him. As the Hegemony fleet powered down weapons and began turning away, Lily felt tears running down her face. Not from sadness, but from relief so powerful it hurt. Ash flew back to the station, landing beside Lily. The dragon's wing was injured, but healing already, the torn membrane already beginning to knit together. You scared me, Lily said, hugging Ash's neck. Scared myself. But was necessary. Sometimes avoiding fight means accepting risk. Around them, humans and dragons and aliens from dozens of species began to cheer. The battle that could have killed thousands had ended without a single death. But Lily knew this wasn't over. The Hegemony fleet had left, but the question of what happened next still remained. Where would dragons and their bonded partners fit in galactic society? What would their role be? Those were questions for tomorrow. Today they'd survived. They'd proven that compassion could win without violence, that truth could overcome lies, and that bonds formed freely were stronger than chains forged from fear. Today was enough. 6 months changed everything and nothing. Lily walked through Terra Station's market, the same market where she'd bought Ash for 3 credits, and saw how different the world had become. Dragon-bonded pairs worked openly now. Rachel and Sam with Willow ran a youth center helping refugee children. Daniel and Storm managed station maintenance. Storm's size and strength making repairs that once took teams of workers possible with just the 2 of them. Ben and Shadow trained security forces, teaching them how dragons and humans could work together for protection without domination. But not everyone celebrated. Lily passed a group of protesters holding signs. Humans first and dragons go home, and worse things she tried not to read. The resentment hadn't gone away just because the truth came out. Some people needed someone to blame for their problems, and dragons made easy targets. Still happening? Ash asked in her mind. The dragon walked beside her now, small enough to fit through station corridors after they'd been modified. Growing dragons adapted their size to their environment, something Lily found endlessly fascinating. People are scared, Lily said quietly. Change is scary. We went from thinking dragons were extinct to having them be part of everyday life in less than a year. Some people need time, and if they never accept, then we keep trying. Keep showing them we're not threats. Keep being the bridge your dragon queen believed humans could be. They reached their destination, a new building constructed specifically for the Dragon Accord. The Galactic Council had officially recognized dragon-bonded pairs as neutral mediators, beings who could work between species and governments without bias. It sounded impressive. In reality, it meant Lily spent most of her time in meetings, filling out reports and trying to solve problems nobody else wanted to touch. Oren met them at the entrance. The old scholar had become the Accord's unofficial historian, documenting everything as it happened. We have a situation. Mining colony on Brennan the 4. The mining company claims the workers are staging an illegal strike. The workers claim the company is violating safety regulations. Both sides are threatening violence. And they want us to mediate? Lily sighed. We're not miracle workers, Oren. No, but you're seen as honest. Dragons can sense lies, remember? Both sides might trust your judgment even if they don't trust each other. Lily looked at Ash. What do you think? We should try. That's why we're here. That's what it means to be bridge builders. 2 days later, Lily stood in a conference room on Brennan 4 with representatives from both the mining company and the workers' union. Ash lay beside her chair, golden eyes watching everyone carefully. The tension was thick enough to cut. Let's hear both sides, Lily said. Company first. The company representative, a Kaldorian named Bex, pulled up holographic displays showing production schedules, profit margins, expense reports. We're running on thin margins. The workers want safety upgrades that would cost millions. We simply can't afford them without shutting down the operation entirely. Now, workers, Lily said. A human woman named Sarah stood, her hands scarred from years of manual labor. 3 workers died last month. Preventable deaths. The equipment is old, failing. The company knows it. They just don't care because replacing us is cheaper than replacing machines. Beck started to argue, but Ash's low rumble stopped him. The dragon's voice entered everyone's mind.
Truth, both of you.
Truth only. Something about dragons' telepathic presence made lying almost impossible. Not because they forced people, but because being in a dragon's mind space made deception feel wrong on a fundamental level. Bex deflated. The equipment is dangerous, but shareholders demand profits. If I authorize expensive upgrades, I lose my position. Someone else takes over who cuts even more corners. Sarah's anger softened slightly. We don't want the mine to close. These jobs feed our families, but we can't keep dying for shareholder dividends. Lily saw the real problem now. Not malice, but a system where doing the right thing meant losing your job, and asking for basic safety meant risking your livelihood. A problem no one person could solve. What if there was a third option? Lily said slowly. The Galactic Council has an economic development fund for critical industries. What if we helped you get a loan for safety upgrades with payment schedules that don't bankrupt the operation? That exists? Bex looked surprised. It exists. Most companies don't know about it because the application process is complicated and requires neutral mediators to verify the need. Lily smiled, which is exactly what we are. Over the next 3 hours, they worked through details. Ash helped, using the bond with other dragons to contact experts across the galaxy who could advise on mining safety, equipment costs, and realistic payment schedules. By the end, they had a plan both sides could accept. As they left the conference room, Sarah pulled Lily aside. Thank you. We'd given up hope anyone would listen. That's what we're here for, Lily said, listening when others won't. Back on Terra Station, word of their success spread. More requests came in. Disputes over trade routes, disagreements about colony borders, family conflicts that local authorities couldn't resolve. The work never stopped. One evening, exhausted from a particularly difficult case involving a religious dispute that had nearly turned violent, Lily stood in the observation deck watching ships come and go. Ash rested beside her, and through their bond she felt the dragon's contentment. Do you miss your old life? Lily asked silently. Before humans? Before me? Sometimes. Long sleep was peaceful. But this... Ash gestured with a wing toward the bustling station. This is purpose. This is what we dreamed of, being part of something bigger, even when it's exhausting, especially then. Easy things rarely matter. The door opened behind them. Administrator Cross entered, looking more relaxed than she had in months. Thought I'd find you here. Got some news. The Galactic Council voted unanimously to expand the Dragon Accord. They're offering funding for 10 new facilities across Council space, training programs for mediators, official recognition as an independent diplomatic service. That's amazing, Lily said. It's terrifying, Cross corrected. You're 24 years old. 6 months ago you were hauling cargo. Now you're building an institution that might shape galactic politics for centuries. Are you ready for that? Lily thought about it. About the scared girl who'd seen a dying dragon and paid 3 credits without thinking. About everything that followed. The chaos, the fear, the violence, the hope, the bonds formed between species that never trusted each other before. No, she said honestly. I'm not ready. But I don't think anyone could be. We're making this up as we go, trying to do the right thing, hoping it's enough. Cross smiled. That's the most honest thing I've heard all day. Try to keep that honesty. The galaxy needs it. After Cross left, Lily and Ash stayed in the observation deck watching the stars. More ships arrived, bringing more bonded pairs. The number was up to 317 now. 317 humans who'd proven themselves worthy of partnership with dragons. 317 bridges connecting species that once stood apart. Do you think it's enough? Lily asked. 300 bridges to heal a galaxy? Bridges connect more than 2 points. Each person we help, they help others. Each conflict we resolve, the methods spread. 300 becomes 3,000 becomes 3 million. Change starts small, like paying 3 credits for a dying dragon. Lily laughed. I still can't believe that's how this started. 3 credits. Grask probably still kicks himself for that sale. Actually visited him last week. He runs a legitimate animal rescue now, says you inspired him. Claims he always knew I was special. He absolutely did not. No, but he's trying to be better. That's what matters. They stayed there until the station's artificial night cycle began. lights dimming to simulate evening. As they walked back to their quarters, Lily passed the protest group again. Smaller now, only a few people holding signs in the quiet corridor. One protester, a young human man, looked at Lily with such anger. "You're destroying humanity, making us weak. We don't need dragons." Lily could have argued, could have listed all the good they'd done, all the lives saved, all the conflicts resolved. Instead, she just said, "I hope someday you see things differently. Until then, if you need help, we'll be here." The man blinked, surprised by her response. He didn't change his mind, didn't put down his sign. But something in his expression softened, just slightly. In their quarters, Lily collapsed on her bed while Ash curled up on the specially designed platform beside it. Through the window, stars shone steady and eternal. "What do you think happens now?" Lily asked. "We keep working, keep being honest, keep showing the galaxy that compassion isn't weakness, that cooperation achieves more than conquest, that bridges matter more than walls." Sounds exhausting. It is. But look what we've built already. From 3 credits in a market to an organization that serves the entire galaxy. Imagine what we'll build in 10 years. 20. 100. Lily closed her eyes, feeling the bond between her and Ash, a connection that had saved her life, given her purpose, and changed the trajectory of galactic history. A bond that started because she saw suffering and chose to act, because she valued life over money, connection over isolation. "You know what's funny?" Lily said sleepily. "People keep calling me brave, saying I'm some kind of hero for starting all this. But I didn't do anything heroic. I just couldn't walk past something dying without trying to help. That's what makes you a hero, not grand gestures, small kindnesses when no one's watching. That's what changes worlds." Lily drifted toward sleep, exhausted but content. Tomorrow would bring more problems, more disputes, more challenges. The galaxy wouldn't fix itself overnight. But for the first time in her life, she felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do. In the market where everything began, the spot where Grask had chained a dying dragon was marked now with a plaque. Simple words, requested by Ash and approved by the station council. Here, compassion changed the galaxy. May we all be so brave in small moments. 3 credits. That's all it cost to start a revolution. Not a violent overthrow, but something more powerful. A revolution of connection, of understanding, of choosing kindness when fear would be easier. And across the galaxy, in markets and stations and colonies and worlds, people saw those words and wondered, what would they pay 3 credits for? What suffering would they choose to address rather than ignore? What small act of kindness might they perform that could change everything? The dragons knew the answer. They'd always known. Humans were the bridge species not because they were perfect, but because they tried. Because a human girl could see a dying creature and choose compassion over convenience. Because humans, at their best, built families from strangers and saw partners in beings that looked nothing like them. That was enough. That would always be enough. 3 credits worth of compassion, multiplied by millions of small choices rippling across the stars like light in darkness, proving that the smallest gestures could create the greatest changes. And somewhere in the vastness of space, dragons, who'd slept for centuries, smiled in their dreams, knowing they'd chosen correctly, knowing that the bridge species had arrived at last, ready to connect what fear had divided, ready to build something beautiful from the ashes of old wars, ready to be exactly what the galaxy needed. Not conquerors, not warriors, just people, willing to pay 3 credits for a dying dragon and see where compassion led. It led here, to hope, to healing, to home.